understand what it's worth doing when the industry is canceling one black guy. I know what happens when they are going to elevate another.
I'm thin! Look at my cheekbones!
Tyler Perry might be one of Hollywood's most powerful moguls, but Eddie Murphy, he's the kind of legend that makes even giants shake. And according to Katt Williams, Perry isn't just keeping his distance, he's flat out scared of him.
I would love to work with Eddie. Eddie won't return my call.
But why? What kind of secret weight does Eddie carry that could rattle a billionaire with an empire as wide-reaching as Perry's? Katt swears the answer lies deep in the elite inner circle of Hollywood, the kind of circle where careers are made and destroyed overnight.
Tyler Perry told his male actors they're not allowed to consort with me because I saw you at a Diddy party, Tyler. And you were having a glorious time.
And if the truth ever leaked, it could bring the whole machine crashing down. This isn't just beef. This feels like a bombshell waiting to explode. Eddie Murphy's name alone carries more weight than most studios combined. He isn't just funny, he's history, culture, and dominance rolled into one. When Katt Williams boldly claimed, Tyler Perry is scared of Eddie Murphy, it sounded wild at first, but the deeper you dig, the clearer it gets. Eddie doesn't just play the game, he rewrote the rules. Think about it. Eddie Murphy's rise wasn't handed to him in backroom deals or PR stunts. He forced his way in with sheer talent. By 19, he had Saturday Night Live gasping for air, dragging the show back from the edge of death with characters that instantly became iconic. From 48 Hours to Coming to America to Beverly Hills Cop, these weren't just hits. They were cultural earthquakes that shifted comedy forever. Eddie wasn't just part of the culture. He was the culture. Katt sees Eddie as untouchable, the kind of superstar you can't duplicate no matter how much Hollywood tries to manufacture one. And maybe that's the real reason Perry keeps his guard up. Tyler Perry may have conquered the industry, but he did it by carefully strategizing every move. His empire wasn't built on unpredictable raw talent, it was built on calculated branding. Characters like Medea were designed with precision, aimed at church-going audiences who gave Perry loyalty and millions in return. But that's exactly the difference. Eddie's stardom was organic, chaotic, and unstoppable, while Perry's power was engineered, packaged, and sold. And when those two worlds collide, that's where the fear creeps in. What Perry stacks in dollars, Murphy stacks in legacy. And that's the one thing money can't buy. No billion-dollar empire can erase rejection, especially when the man doing the rejecting is Eddie Murphy himself. That silence cuts deeper than any headline because Eddie isn't just brushing off a script, he's brushing off one of the most powerful black moguls in entertainment. That kind of dismissal speaks louder than words. Katt Williams says Eddie's silence is no accident. Eddie doesn't need Hollywood favors or backroom deals. He doesn't play the game because he won it decades ago. He climbed to the top on his own terms and never looked back. While Tyler Perry built his dynasty with studios, streaming contracts, and a formula he can recycle for profit, Eddie Murphy carries the one thing Perry can never manufacture: authenticity. The kind that makes entire rooms fall silent the moment he walks in. It's not just jealousy, it's identity. Eddie never watered himself down for acceptance. But Tyler, critics accuse him of hiding behind costumes, pushing narrow narratives, and playing safe just to keep white Hollywood execs comfortable. Eddie doesn't need a wig, a dress, or a moral sermon to dominate a stage. All he needs is a mic, a smirk, or a single line, and suddenly, Perry's carefully controlled empire looks shaky. That's why Tyler's nervous, because Eddie Murphy is untouchable in ways Perry can never be. And here's where it gets explosive. Katt claims Tyler's fear isn't just professional, it's personal. He says Perry has a secret he's been hiding for years.
Tyler Perry is gay. I know he's gay. He knows he's gay. We all have friends that know he's gay. I've hung around Tyler Perry. I've known Tyler Perry for years.
A truth that clashes with the family values empire he's built through Medea. According to Katt, the contradiction is glaring. A man preaching virtue on screen while allegedly living a life off screen that doesn't match the script. But Katt doesn't stop there. He claims Perry doesn't just guard his own image, he uses his power to control others too. Word is, Tyler even warned male actors to stay away from Jaguar Wright. Why? Because Jaguar supposedly saw things. And if that's true, it's not just about image. It's about keeping the wrong people quiet before the wrong secrets get out. Jaguar Wright swears she saw it all, the late night parties, the hush-hush dealings, the fear behind the smiles. And this isn't just Hollywood gossip. Katt Williams frames it like a whistleblower moment. Wright's words sketch a picture of Tyler Perry as a man so desperate to protect his polished image that he'll block, silence, and sideline anyone who dares to spill the truth.
Tyler Perry told his male actors they're not allowed to consort with me because I saw you at a Diddy party, Tyler. And you were having a glorious time.
And the scariest part? Katt says he's doing it out of fear. Fear of what Eddie Murphy represents. Because Eddie isn't just another celebrity. He's a free black man in Hollywood, the rare kind who doesn't owe his fame, his career, or his success to any studio, handler, or hidden agenda.
Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time.
He's untouchable in a system built on control. That's exactly what rattles people like Perry. Now, some might dismiss this as conspiracy talk, but Katt is dead serious. He says that when you go against Hollywood's machine, the power brokers, the handlers, the image makers, you don't get celebrated, you get punished, blackballed, silenced, erased. And Eddie Murphy, he's living proof of it. Think about it. Eddie is one of the most gifted performers the industry has ever seen. Decades of box office domination, culture-shifting films, and characters that defined entire generations. Yet despite all of that, Hollywood's biggest gatekeepers keep their awards locked tight. Eddie's only Oscar nomination came for Dreamgirls back in 2006, and Eddie himself once admitted he didn't even put much effort into that role. If that's not a slap in the face, what is? Director Craig Brewer, who worked with Eddie on Coming to America, spilled the truth in a podcast. He described Eddie as a perfectionist, sitting in makeup for hours, rehearsing scenes with military precision, slipping into characters like a surgeon. The man works like a machine, but Hollywood doesn't see his craft. They pretend it's just easy. They reduce him to a comedian cracking jokes instead of an artist building legacy. And that's no accident. That's a strategy.
And I sometimes get angry at awards institutions because I think they think that comedy is easy.
Eddie's comedy wasn't just funny, it was revolutionary. His films weren't just successful, they redefined culture. But Hollywood, with its obsession with white validation, refuses to acknowledge his genius. They laugh at him but never lift him up. And while Eddie's genius gets snubbed, guess who gets applause, awards, and constant elevation? Tyler Perry.
I am deeply, deeply honored to present the 2019 BET Ultimate Icon Award to my dear, dear friend, Mr. Tyler Perry.
Despite years of backlash from fans, actors, and even scholars for recycling stereotypes, trauma, and tired tropes, Hollywood still rolled out the red carpet for Tyler Perry. In 2021, they even handed him the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award at the Oscars, an honor meant to celebrate vision and integrity.
I know you never do what you do for thanks, but I am grateful for the countless ways you work to make ours a better world. It is my honor to present to you the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award.
Meanwhile, Eddie Murphy, the man who revolutionized comedy, smashed barriers, and changed how black talent was viewed forever, remains practically invisible when it comes to real industry recognition. That's not just bias, that's the machine showing its hand. It rewards obedience and sidelines rebellion. Katt Williams says it bluntly. Perry's power only exists because he plays the game. He's safe, controllable, predictable. His films don't rock the system, they comfort it. But Eddie has always refused to be anyone's pawn. He skips red carpets, he ducks interviews, he'll walk away from projects the second they don't feel right, and that refusal to bend, Hollywood hates it. So instead of applause, they withheld their stamp of approval, hoping Eddie would eventually fade into the background, but Eddie never faded. He only created classics. The Nutty Professor, Coming to America, Harlem Nights, these weren't just comedies, they were cultural milestones. Films led by all black casts, powered by raw brilliance, unapologetic, and timeless.
I'm thin! Look at my cheekbones!
Perry's movies may have brought in big checks, but critics say they leaned heavy on caricatures, trauma plots, and narrow depictions of black life. So yeah, Perry's successful, but at what cost to representation? That's the contrast Katt Williams is screaming about, an industry that sidelines raw genius while elevating watered-down, stereotype-heavy content. And that's why he insists Perry fears Eddie Murphy, because Eddie doesn't wait for permission to shine, he just shines. And he's been doing it flawlessly for 40 years, with or without an Oscar, proving that legacy beats accolades every time. But while Eddie was ignored, Hollywood anointed someone else as the face of acceptable black success, Tyler Perry. He got the awards, the platforms, the praise. But the real question isn't just why him, it's what did it cost? Because even as the industry celebrated Perry, the very people who helped build his empire started pulling away. Take Mo'Nique, for example. Fresh off her Oscar win for Precious, her career should have skyrocketed. Instead, it collapsed, because after daring to stand her ground, she was branded difficult. Mo'Nique made one thing clear: she wasn't contractually bound to do unpaid international press for Precious. She stuck to her domestic obligations and refused to go beyond that for free, and that's when everything changed. Behind the scenes, she says the knives came out. Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Lee Daniels allegedly banded together to blackball her from Hollywood. Perry, in particular, is accused of spreading lies to executives, branding her difficult and uncooperative, even though, according to Mo'Nique, he later admitted in private that he made it up. The problem? He never corrected the story in public. And that lie cost her everything. Before the fallout, Mo'Nique says she was earning $2 to $3 million a year. Do the math over a decade of exile. That's tens of millions gone. All based on a smear campaign Perry could have shut down with one statement, but didn't. But the money wasn't even the worst wound. The deepest cut came from Oprah. Mo'Nique says she confided in her about a painful, fractured relationship with her estranged parents. Instead of protecting that trust, Oprah blindsided her, bringing those very parents onto her talk show for ratings. Mo'Nique called it the ultimate betrayal. And when the backlash hit, Oprah didn't give a real apology. She gave a vague, indirect line on a group panel. "If I've done anything wrong, I apologize to Mo'Nique." That wasn't an apology, that was deflection. And it didn't stop there. During the Precious promo run, Mo'Nique claims Tyler Perry lured her into a private meeting. His whole staff allegedly cleared the room the second the door shut, like they'd seen this setup before. Mo'Nique brought her own security in, just in case. Inside, Perry allegedly pressured her to do unpaid press, dangling promises of a future payday in the range of $3 to $8 million. When she refused, he backed off in the moment. But soon after, he allegedly joined forces to smear her reputation across the industry. The betrayal ran deep. Even Oprah's longtime makeup artist Reggie Wells later claimed he overheard Oprah say she'd never pay Mo'Nique a dime, even though she knew Mo'Nique had earned it. Mo'Nique says she doesn't want pity. She wants the truth on record. She wants Tyler Perry and Oprah to admit publicly what they admitted privately, that they were wrong, that they lied, and that they cost her millions. And if they want to make it right, she says they need to do it under the same spotlight they used to ruin her name. Mo'Nique wasn't the only one demanding answers. Even seasoned vets like Tichina Arnold, respected by execs, loved by fans, and a certified trailblazer, have been pulling the curtain back. She's not just speaking on her own battles with unfair pay, she's calling out the broader pattern. Black women in Hollywood doing the heavy lifting, carrying the stories and then getting pushed aside. And here's the twist: Tyler Perry, the same man who built his empire off telling their stories, is now one of the very names tied to their frustrations. That's the sting. For years, Perry painted himself as the savior of black actresses, the one giving them jobs when nobody else would. But lately, those same women are pushing back. They're tired of the stereotypes, the one-note roles, the endless cycle of pain without healing. Broken, bitter, abandoned. That's the box too many of Perry's female characters live in. And actresses are done being grateful for scraps while the men in power eat full plates. This goes right back to Katt Williams' warning. Power doesn't mean a thing if the very people who once supported you now see you as the problem. Tyler Perry might have studios and billion-dollar streaming deals, but Eddie Murphy, he's got respect. And more women are following Eddie's lead, choosing dignity over exposure even if it means fewer roles. Because these days, being in a Tyler Perry movie isn't the badge of honor it once was. And here's where things get darker. The whispers about Perry used to be brushed off, just gossip, jokes, unproven rumors. But that was before the walls started closing in on Diddy. Now the floodgates are open, with lawsuits, federal investigations, and exposés blowing up his alleged freak-off parties. Former employees, bodyguards, and even guests are spilling tea, and in those stories, one name keeps popping up more than anyone expected: Tyler Perry. Allegedly a regular attendee, his name is starting to surface in ways Hollywood can't just laugh off anymore. The question hanging in the air is no longer if people are talking, it's how much longer can Perry dodge the storm now that the spotlight is creeping his way. Jaguar didn't mince words, she said it flat out. Tyler Perry was there, and not just once. According to Katt Williams, these weren't your average Hollywood mixers. These were secret, locked-down gatherings. No phones, no cameras, no women. Just powerful men, expensive drinks, and a code of silence so tight it could bury careers. Katt says he felt the darkness firsthand. He claims that one night after trying to leave early, Diddy personally followed him, offering a drink laced with strange remarks that made Katt deeply uncomfortable. Katt refused, walked away, and that's when the threat dropped. A chilling warning about his career. That's the moment Katt says he realized why so many stars keep their mouths shut. But here's where it gets dangerous. Rumors swirl that video evidence from one of Diddy's infamous parties could put Tyler Perry right at the scene. Perry may be trying to act unbothered, waiting for the storm to pass, but the whispers are getting louder. Diddy's own ex-bodyguard, Gene Deal, has hinted that real dirt is about to surface. And if tapes exist, Perry could find himself right in the blast zone.
But all this is bigger than Diddy. It's bigger than Diddy, bro. Because you know who else they was doing investigation on?
Hollywood insiders are already speculating. If Diddy goes down, he's not going alone. Somebody's getting sacrificed to save the empire. And with Perry's name popping up in every other whisper, some think he might be first in line for the bus.
And he got to put something together real soon because they're not playing with him. He has to put something together real soon and say, yo, listen to me. I know this, I know that. It's way bigger than Diddy.
Even Ice Cube, a man who rarely names names, dropped a cryptic warning about Hollywood's power plays. People are very polarized in all kinds of ways. People are afraid to speak out. And when Ice Cube talks about fear, you know the danger is real. Because here's the truth. Hollywood thrives on silence, relationships, and shadow deals made in rooms nobody's supposed to know about. But now, those rooms are leaking if the footage from Diddy's gatherings is real. Perry's carefully polished career might not survive the fallout. This time, it's not just rumors. It's lawsuits, paperwork, and federal eyes locked on the scene. And Katt, he already gave us the roadmap years ago. We just didn't want to believe him. Now, as the spotlight burns hotter on Perry's personal life, people are revisiting his work with fresh suspicion. They're not praising it, they're questioning it. Because for a man celebrated as the storyteller of the Black experience, Perry's empire seems built on a formula that repeats over and over. Women broken, bruised, abandoned, and men holding the power. Abusive men, broken women, trauma that never heals. It's the formula that keeps popping up in Tyler Perry's work. Film after film, show after show, the cycle repeats, and the question screams louder each time. Why does Perry keep recycling these same stereotypes? Take Diary of a Mad Black Woman, one of his most famous movies. Steve Harris played Charles McCarter, a wealthy lawyer who wasn't just flawed, he was cruel. He confessed to his wife Helen that he had another woman, then tossed her out of their home like she was nothing. Or look at Blair Underwood's role as Carlos, a controlling, arrogant investment banker who crushed his girlfriend's spirit under his thumb. Different movie, same narrative. Black women suffering at the hands of men who embody every toxic stereotype in the book. Blair Underwood himself has spoken about these patterns.
Must be out your mind.
With a career spanning back to the 1980s, he knows firsthand the limited, one-dimensional roles Hollywood often handed to Black actors. He even recalled his encounters with Sidney Poitier, a reminder of how little variety was offered back then.
And of course, this is what the kids are now calling a Blassic movie. Black classic movie. Isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? They're so
I heard that. I like
innovative.
that. A Blassic movie.
A Blassic.
Okay.
In the 80s and 90s, Denzel Washington and Blair became the safe bets. But even they faced walls, because nearly every black actor, no matter how skilled, was forced to audition for the exact same roles. Different names, same boxes.
You know, these 4 black women in the hood, and like, now we're gonna do girls in the hood, and there was a little pushback. Like, why they only want to see us as slaves or in the hood and Hollywood.
And Tyler Perry? Instead of breaking that mold, many say he doubled down on it. Over and over, his villains look the same. Black men as abusers, cheaters, criminals, or manipulators.
Yeah, I've been a history buff like most of my life. I love history.
You do?
I don't know a lot about history, but I love.
Philip Van Leer played a drug dealer across multiple seasons of one Perry show.
Ooh, child.
No. Hey, Harry, Brenda, Harry.
Hey.
Harry's a high school coach.
Ion Overman took on the role of Linda Davis in Medea Goes to Jail, a bitter, scheming assistant district attorney who tampered with evidence, filed fraudulent documents, and destroyed lives without remorse. These aren't just one-offs, they're a pattern. Perry's stories keep circling back to betrayal, abuse, and corruption within black families and communities. Sure, the drama sells tickets, but critics argue it also feeds into long-standing stereotypes that Hollywood has pushed for decades. And the real sting, for a man who's been celebrated as a champion of black storytelling, the formula feels less like empowerment and more like exploitation. At the end of the day, Katt wasn't exaggerating. He was exposing how Hollywood really works. People in the business do whatever it takes to stay in favor. And for Tyler Perry, that's meant recycling the same story on repeat, a story that rakes in millions but boxes black women into helpless roles and paints black men as predators and monsters. But the question is, why would a black filmmaker push those narratives so relentlessly? Some believe it's internalized. Others think it's strategy, that Perry knows exactly what white Hollywood wants to see, and he feeds it back on demand. That's why critics say the damage isn't just creative, it's cultural. Young black audiences grow up seeing these stereotypes until they start absorbing them as reality. Viewers get numb, the cycle continues, and Perry just keeps rolling out more scripts. But now, with the spotlight shifting onto his personal life, especially whispers about his alleged ties to Diddy's secretive freak-off scene, people are connecting the dots in ways they never dared before. The man who constantly writes about toxic men and broken women might be closer to those characters than he wants us to believe. And that's the chilling part. Why are Perry's good men always an afterthought? Why do his women never seem to find real healing? Why does pain and betrayal always sit at the center of his stories? There's a theory that Tyler isn't just writing fiction. He's writing what he knows, or at the very least, what he's seen up close. And if that's true, then his movies aren't just drama, they're reflections. So what if the scripts weren't just stories? What if they've been confessions hiding in plain sight, using Hollywood as the mask? That's the real question that makes his empire so uncomfortable to revisit now. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment with your thoughts. See you on the next one.